Please subscribe if you like.
The story begins on a tranquil morning in a picturesque field, where a young girl named Mary enjoys the peaceful scenery. She warmly greets her parents as they return home. Curious, they ask if their little bookworm felt lonely staying home alone, but Mary assures them she didn't. After all, someone named Rose kept her company. Her mother then introduces Mary to her newborn baby brother, a child they would now shower with even more love. Mary is absolutely thrilled to have a sibling. Her little brother's name is Shen. As he wakes up, the baby stretches out his arms, reaching for a hug from his sister. But Mary surprises him with a kiss on the cheek instead. Shen looks visibly disgusted by the kiss, yet his eyes sparkle with delight. 3 years later, Mary celebrates her victory after easily defeating her out-of-shape brother. Shen would much rather be playing Call of Duty, but his sister is way too fast for him anyway. Mary beams with joy when she hears their father returning home, while Shen can't believe how much energy she still has. Their father pretends to enjoy her boundless enthusiasm, and Mary proudly repeats what everyone says about her, that she shines as brightly as the sun, just like the color of her hair. In that moment, their father proudly observes that his favorite child seems dependable, though Shen chimes in, insisting that Mary is even more reliable than she realizes. Mary basks in the praise, but deep down, she knows the truth. Shen is the better child, always helping their mother and long past the days of wetting the bed, unlike her. Also, sometimes Shen gets a worried look on his face, like a grown-up deep in thought. Mary pretends it doesn't bother her, but she finds comfort in knowing Shen's little secret. When no one is watching, Shen likes to make elaborate hand gestures and whisper phrases like fireball, ice storm, and wind gust, acting as if he's a powerful adventurer. Curious, Mary asks what he's doing. Embarrassed, Shen mumbles that it's nothing, but she knows he enjoys playing pretend, and she bursts into laughter like a maniac. Later that evening, during dinner, Shen suddenly asks his father if monsters are real. Without hesitation, his father responds that they do exist, which is precisely why he and his sister must never leave the property. He warns that monsters prey on people and strictly forbids his naive children from ever approaching one. Instead, he instructs them to run away immediately if they ever encounter a monster and to seek an adult's help at once. On a lighter note, their father confirms that fairs are real as well. He's unsure about spirits, but he has seen fairs with his own eyes. They are extremely rare, so the children will likely never encounter one. But his father has heard of traders that specialize in procuring them. Shen has finally built up the courage, so he just comes right out and asks his father if something called magic exists. Shen seems crazy for saying this strange word, and he says that magic can make all sorts of things like fire, water, and wind. His father crushes all of his hopes and dreams by declaring that magic isn't real. In fact, he claims he's never even come across the word magic before, while the father admits there are things he doesn't know. He emphasizes that he's well educated and confident that nothing called magic is recognized by the general public. Growing suspicious, he questions where his son learned about fairs, spirits, and this so-called magic. Before Shen can respond, Mary interrupts, noticing that her brother looks pale, and asking if he's feeling okay. Shen quickly reassures her that he's fine. This wasn't completely true. However, as Shen never said the word magic ever again, 3 years later, Mary finishes up training and Shen wonders why she trains so hard. Her answer is simple. She is the eldest sibling, so she trains just in case something happens. If monsters show up or if bad guys come, she wants to be able to fight. Shen is a serious book nerd, so it's Mary's duty as the older sister to protect him. If she doesn't get stronger, then she won't be able to help Shen run for his life when they're in trouble. Shen can't believe she's going to such lengths for him, but Mary doesn't mind since she's confident in her fighting skills. She openly admits that she's not the sharpest when it comes to brains, but insists she's quite skilled when it comes to physical stuff. Shen remains in disbelief, but Mary reassures him not to worry about anything. Sometime later, Mary is training by a lake when Rose asks how she never seems to get tired of all the training. Annoyed, Mary tells her chatterbox friend to pipe down and join her for a sparring session. Unfortunately, Rose is exhausted from helping her grandpa, and she wonders why Mary doesn't spar with her brother. It's because Shen is locked up in the house and studying like always. Mary thinks about how Shen has never said the word magic since that day, but she is certain that he studies so much because he is searching for an answer. Just then, the two girls are shocked as they see a strange glow in the water. Some time later, Mary urges Shen to follow her to the lake. Shen hesitates, reminding her that they're not supposed to wander too far, but Mary assures him that they're not going far and there are no monsters around. She's well aware that their mother will scold them, but she's confident that what she wants to show him will make it all worthwhile. At that moment, the glow reappears and Shen is left in awe as he watches several orbs of light floating around. Mary brought their parents to see it as soon as she found it, but they couldn't see it. Shen wonders if adults are the only ones who can't see it, but Mary explains that some of the other kids couldn't either. Some people also see it differently. For some, the lights blink in and out. It's a real mystery, but Mary thinks it has something to do with magic. Shen is shocked that she remembered the word, but Mary says that she remembers everything when it comes to her little brother. Mary's little speech is cut short by the ever-emotional Shen, who expresses his gratitude for her bringing him to see this. Mary is happy to hear that the lights have lifted his overwhelming sadness, and the two take a moment to enjoy the scene together. The next day, their parents are shocked at how fast they scarfed down their meal. They did it so they could rush back to the lake. However, Shen's lack of any type of athletic ability becomes apparent once again as he struggles to breathe after the run. Shen, being the true little dweeb he is, wants to investigate the lake. First of all, he wants to know where the balls of light are coming from. Mary obviously points out that they are coming from the water, but Shen wonders if something is living in there. Mary agrees to follow the instructions of her much smarter brother. Shen explains the plan. They'll fill 3 buckets with lake water, one with sand and rocks, another with water plants, and the last with fish. The not-so-bright Mary doesn't quite understand the reasoning behind it, but she goes along with his idea. After filling the first 2 buckets, the siblings start trying to catch some fish. Although they struggle, Shen seems unusually cheerful. He's simply glad to be spending time with his big sister. Mary responds that it's only natural for siblings to be this close. Though deep down, she's also eager to find out if magic really exists. Just then, the pair catch a fish. But Shen is disappointed to hear that it's a pretty common one. In that moment, Rose finds them, and Mary has her brother introduce himself. Rose dramatically introduces herself back, but Mary says that her friend isn't a noble like she tries to make it seem. The 3 then start talking about the orbs of light, but the useless Rose doesn't know anything more about them. Rose and Shen get along right off the bat, which seems to annoy Mary. Some time later, the siblings are disheartened to find that while the glowing orbs continue to appear by the lake, their buckets of water aren't producing any results. This confirms that the orbs must be coming from some other living creature in the lake. But trying to collect all of them for testing seems impossible. Shen, more determined than ever, quickly devises another plan. Moments later, Mary grows concerned as she watches her little brother wade straight into the lake, surrounded by the strange floating orbs, not one to let her brother risk his life alone. Mary dives in after him. Shen touches one of the orbs and finds that it's pretty warm and doesn't hurt at all. He then takes a peek inside the water, but it's far too murky to see anything. However, he does manage to learn something. He is now 100% sure that the orbs are coming from a living creature that moves around under the water. Unfortunately, they can't see clearly enough to know which creature it is. Afterwards, Shen thanks his sister for helping him, but she reminds him that it's not necessary to thank family so much. Shen insists and Mary just accepts it. At that moment, Rose walks up holding a female trout in her hands. She explains that while male trout are easy to catch, females are much harder since they usually stay deep underwater. They add the female trout to the bucket with the other fish and are astonished when the orbs of light begin to emerge. Shen quickly realizes that the glowing orbs are actually part of a courting ritual. Rose chimes in, explaining that it's how the trout signal their desire to marry and become a family. The not-so-bright Mary compares it to how she and Shen are family, but the clever Shen is quick to correct her misunderstanding. The next day, Mary reveals that she was just scolded by their mother for saying she wanted to marry Shen. Mary's just afraid that they won't be able to stay together forever, but Shen assures her that they will. He promises to do whatever it takes, and this makes Mary emotional. Just then, they are shocked as Shen begins to glow. He thinks it might have been magical energy and realizes that the orbs from the lake must have imprinted inside of him. Mary feels a bit embarrassed as she tries to make sense of it all, but Shen is focused on what truly matters: magic. Although it isn't supposed to exist in this world, that's only because the techniques referred to as magic haven't been discovered yet. Trembling with excitement, Shen proclaims that this moment marks the beginning of his story. In a surprising twist, it's revealed that Shen was reincarnated into this world, and he's now resolved to bring magic into existence. Watch this next video on screen and subscribe to not miss next part.